So this morning, I want to have another look at generosity from a slightly different perspective. And I want to begin by sharing one of my favorite Gandhi quotes. And he says, quote, "The fragrance remains in the hand that gives the rose. The fragrance remains in the hand that gives the rose." And this beautiful metaphor speaks volumes about the nature of generosity and what the Buddha taught about generosity. While the receipt of the rose, the recipient of the rose enjoys its beauty and scent, the giver too carries a lingering reminder of the gift, a subtle fragrance clinging to their hand. And this imagery resonates so clearly with the Buddhist teachings and offers really a profound perspective on generosity as an act that transforms both the giver and the receiver. In the West, we often push back against gifts of generosity toward us from others. Oh, you shouldn't have. Oh, it's too much. Oh, why did you bother? We're always sort of pushing back against it. And really, when we do that, we really deprive the giver of the joy of giving. I mean, the Buddha talked about what a wonderful practice generosity is and what rewards we reap from it. From a Buddhist perspective, generosity is one of the six paramitas or perfections. I mean, that's how much emphasis he put on it. In Buddhism, generosity is considered the first perfection of the six, the bedrock upon which the other five virtues are built. So in Buddhist teachings, this concept is often referred to as the threefold purity of giving. The first purity is the purity of the giver, who gives without attachment, who gives without expectation of reward. So the giving is not transactional. I'm not giving you something hoping for something back. That's the first purity. The second purity is the purity of the gift itself, which is given with the intention of benefiting the recipient. So I give it to you with the intention of benefiting you. And then the third purity is the purity of the recipient, who receives the gift with gratitude and appreciation, not with pushback, not with, oh, you shouldn't have, but with gratitude and appreciation. And here we're not really just talking about material giving. We're talking about a much broader perspective, the selfless offering of time, of skills, of compassion, of loving kindness. And in many ways, those are the more important gifts than any material gift we might offer. And this view from the Buddhist teaching really, I think, aligns perfectly with the Gandhi quote. Just as the fragrance lingers when we offer a single rose or even an entire garden, every act of giving, no matter how small, leaves its mark on the giver. The lingering fragrance is not a material reward that the giver receives. It's a transformation of our spirit. It's an opening of our heart. You know from prior discussions that the Buddha taught that clinging to self-interest and craving are the roots and causes of suffering. And generosity, by its very nature, chips away at this self-centeredness. It challenges the ego. Because when we give without expectation of reward, we actually loosen the grip of the ego. We cultivate a sense of interconnectedness. And this shift in perspective is the true fragrance that remains. And it's often a feeling of lightness, of joy, and of inner peace from having given someone a gift. And this act of giving also fosters empathy and compassion. Because by considering the needs of others and offering our resources, we open ourselves to their experiences and we cultivate a deeper understanding of that person's struggles. So it's really important in terms of deepening our connection to others. And it's also a counter to judging others. It's really hard to open to others in that compassionate way if we're judging them. It's really an antidote to judging. And what this returns to us, one of several things, is it strengthens our capacity for compassion. It compels us to alleviate suffering wherever we find it. Now, the Buddhist perspective on generosity goes beyond just the individual experience. It encourages us to approach generosity as a means of cultivating a sense of responsibility and stewardship for the well-being of all beings, not just as a personal virtue. The act of giving sets in motion a positive ripple effect, influencing not only the receiver, but it sort of ripples out and affects larger society. When we receive an act of kindness from someone else, it inspires gratitude and it inspires generosity within us. We want to extend it somewhere else. In other words, it creates a positive feedback loop. As the current jargon would say, we are more likely to pay it forward. So perpetuating a cycle of giving and contributing creates a more compassionate and harmonious world. So again, Gandhi's evocative image of the rose's fragrance serves as a powerful reminder of the transformative power of generosity. Because from a Buddhist perspective, it's not just an act of giving, but it's also a path to personal and collective liberation. It is through this continual practice of selfless giving that we cultivate inner peace. We dismantle the walls of the ego. We contribute to a more compassionate world. And perhaps most importantly, by lessening our own ego-derived suffering. You know, the ego causes us tremendous suffering, as we often talk about. So the fragrance that lingers is not just a pleasant scent, but it's a testament to the profound impact of generosity on both the giver and the receiver. So that's generosity from the perspective of Mahatma Gandhi. Let's see. Give me 1 second. Well, shoot. Here we go.